Hello and welcome to South Asia Focus. I'm Smita Prakash. This week we have with us Professor Kamal Mitra Chenoy from the School of International Studies at the Jawahar Lal Nehru University in Delhi. He will be speaking to us on the current political turmoil in Pakistan due to the protests by cricketer turned politician Imran Khan and cleric Tahirul Qadri. The government in Pakistan has requested the all-powerful army to negotiate with both Khan and Qadri to defuse the situation. Thank you very much for speaking with us, Professor. Last night, the Pakistani army chief had this elaborate, long meetings with Tahirul Qadri. He also met with Imran Khan. He's been invited to talk to the protesters and get to know what is happening, to negotiate on behalf of the government. Now, why did a democratically elected prime minister with such a huge mandate, why did he need to call the army to negotiate with the politicians?
I think this is a politico-military matter, because with this Islamism rising, extreme Islamist positions, and the IS coming closer and closer to Pakistan, and the Taliban already there, Sharif is playing his cards close to his chest, but it is clear he wants to bring the army in, because there are also rumors that if he does not stop these waves of protest, he may be displaced by the army. So I think it's a very well thought out move. It may have happened last night, but it's happening after a series of demonstrations by Imran Khan and Maulana Qadri.
But you know, here is this democratically elected government. What was the need for the army to get involved? What is the imminent threat that Pakistan is facing, that these demonstrations could not continue longer? It's just 14 days, that's all, and a bunch of, say, 10,000 people in the middle of the city. Imran Khan just has one province to his credit, and Tahirul Qadri is a Canadian-based cleric. So why did the army have to just throw it all up and get involved in this?
Number one, because it was a preemptive strike against Islamists. And
by the army?
By the army with the permission of Nawaz Sharif.
Okay.
Because Nawaz Sharif could not handle these 10,000 people on his own. If he had brought his people onto the streets, there would have been a riot.
So you're saying that the Islamists are backing Imran Khan and Tahirul Qadri?
Well, at least I can say that Imran and Qadri want to get the backing of the Islamists.
Then how come, the Jamaat-ul Dawa is not part of this? Why is it that it's just...
The Jamaat-ul Dawa is very much under the control of the army. So they're kept out. And the army does not want Islamists. They're perfectly okay with what you might call extremely moderate Islamists. But with this IS phenomenon spreading, and people forget that ISI is after all an intelligence agency. They must have been collecting evidence. They have very good ties with all the Arabic states from Saudi Arabia onwards. And so this is a preemptive move, because the feeling
does the army think that Nawaz Sharif is incapable of controlling the political situation in the country, as well as the problems which are occurring vis-a-vis Pakistanis getting involved with the ISIS?
You see, the thing is, the army is concerned also because of Baluchistan, also the situation in Peshawar and the former northwest frontier provinces, and also they are concerned with the IS. And this is a worldwide concern. If you look at today's papers, The Economist has really said that this is a very serious matter. And David Cameron, who was playing it down, has changed his line. So these people will be in the middle of the fight if the Islamists get that far. And of course, the barrier is Afghanistan. But Afghanistan's own army is not so strong, and there are hardly any American and foreign troops left.
So how will it change matters for Pakistan to have political instability? Because if the army is unable to solve this political crisis, that means Nawaz Sharif will have to resign, and there will be a puppet government till such a time that elections are called again.
If you see the role of the army, whenever there is a threat to what they feel is the state, they tend to, for example, Bangladesh, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto had started it. he had the support from the army, but once it boomeranged, the army hanged him. So they, as long as the civilian government can hold, can provide stability, where when there are masses of people, some of whom may be armed, etc., then the civilian government would be expected to take the help of the army.
So now this is a breakdown between the civilian government, Nawaz Sharif, and the army. And there's also talk that it's because Nawaz Sharif did not allow Musharraf to get out, General Musharraf to fly out of Pakistan, that the army was angry, because down the cadres, the Pakistani army is livid, because one, they have their operations going on in North Waziristan, they have to keep the morale high, and on the other hand there's a COS who's been ex-army chief who is under arrest. It doesn't go down well with the cadre in the Pakistan army. Is that a correct reading?
I think that there is no threat to the civilian government at the moment. Nawaz Sharif has not been accused of the kind of corruption that he'd been accused of in his earlier stint. So I don't think this is an anti-Nawaz Sharif move. It is a clever move by Nawaz Sharif to bring the army in, so it is not said later that the civilian government did not allow the army to play its role. Nawaz Sharif is walking on a knife's edge, because some of the new officers who are going to come in as corps commanders are known to be quite critical of the civilian rule. But I think major funders and friends of Pakistan like the United States and all would push, given the IS spectre, that there be civilian rule, so that not more people are alienated from the system because of the role of the army.
So is it a soft coup or not? Because that's what they're saying. Is it coup, no coup, soft coup? Where would you categorize
I wouldn't even
it?
call it a soft coup, because it has been shown to be an effort by Nawaz Sharif to get the support of the army. If, however, there is some action taken by the army which is not normally what the civilian government should support, and Nawaz Sharif keeps quiet or supports it, then you can say a soft coup. But that's quite some time away from this now. And we must hope that they manage, because if Pakistan becomes unstable, then that will have repercussions for India.
How is South Asia affected? Like you said, that it will have repercussions on India. What is then the future for the talks between India and Pakistan? Of course, India called off the foreign secretary level talks. Do you see a forward movement in that sphere at all?
Well, you know, Bangladesh is susceptible. After all, during the killings by the Pakistani army, the Jamaat-e-Islami supported the Pakistan army, and now they've been tried and all of that.
You're talking about 1971?
Yeah. So, and there has always been a tussle between the two Begums. Begum Hasina more secular, Begum Zia more conservative. So things could change depending on what happens in Pakistan. But I don't think there is any immediate, imminent threat, because the IS has not come anywhere near.
They are recruiting from this region.
They are recruiting, but for example, the Indian Mujahideen, these were also people who were recruited. And but in this region, that kind of virulent Islamist, anti-other religion phobia, that's not apparent in any major way.
All right. What about the India-Pakistan talks? As I mentioned, India called off the talks recently. Now, what is the way forward? If there is political instability in Pakistan, is there anything that India and Pakistan can really have a kind of a common ground at all to move forward on these talks?
Well, I think it was unfortunate the talks were called off. The Hurriyat meets people all the time. On occasion, the Indian government has funded the Hurriyat trip to Pakistan.
Now, the Hurriyat are these, the Kashmiri separatists.
And who, by the way, but are not Islamist. Kashmir is, they have sometimes some slight problems between the Sunnis and the Shias, but it's not an Islamist state within a secular state.
Ideologically, the Hurriyat find themselves on more common ground with Pakistan than they do with India, isn't it?
No, they are using Pakistan to put pressure on India, especially on Article 370, and to make it easier for the population of both countries.
So bone of contention still remains, Hurriyat still remains Kashmir until India does not agree for that to be the core issue. Pakistan and India cannot talk. Is that it?
I think the real issue is that Pakistan, after all, was formed on the two-nation theory. East Pakistan has gone, it's become Bangladesh. But they still have this feeling that since Kashmir is a Muslim majority state, contiguous with their borders, that they were let down by India and the international community.
Hasn't the Simla Declaration and the Lahore Accord, hasn't that nullified this claim now?
No, because in order to demonize India, it is necessary to show some diabolical activity. So one was saying
demonize and diabolical are the words you use. So really one can't go forward.
With the hardline section of the army and with Imran and Qadri. Otherwise, people are quite friendly.
So you say that if Imran Khan and Qadri become part of the political scenario in the ruling political scenario in Pakistan, India-Pakistan dialogue could get hit?
Yes, would get hit. But I don't think the army would allow that. Because whatever is said about the Pakistan army, it's a secular army. It's not a religious army. You know, in the terms of the...
Pakistan army is a secular army?
In the sense that there's no visible thing of Islam. Because this is why I'm saying secularists, they don't all come from Punjab. They're Pakhtuns. They're people from close to Peshawar. There are people, lots of them from West Punjab. So, you know, there's no division in terms of ethnicity. Of course, everyone is Islamic virtually in Pakistan, but the army tries to avoid any kind of religiosity which is, you know, poised against one particular segment of Pakistan.
How does that affect India-Pakistan talks? Are you telling me that the Pakistan army is for improving relations with India?
The Pakistan army is Pakistan is caught in a jam, which will also includes the army. They made such an issue of Kashmir, and of course.
So they're riding a tiger, can't get off.
Yeah, because I mean, Kashmir is now part of Indian nationalism and Pakistani nationalism. Once you have that kind of situation, you can't solve a problem.
So what is happening then, what you're saying is that if the Pakistan army comes more center stage, brings in Imran Khan and Tahir Qadri instead of Nawaz Sharif and instead of the PPP, what we're going to be seeing is Kashmir issue brought up in the forefront, and trade and the MFN status, everything comes down.
Pakistan is also complex. The MFN thing was not stopped by the government. It was stopped by the Pakistan Chambers of Commerce because they thought they could not compete. So it's a complex situation. And on one hand, we've seen that when there have been festivities in Punjab, Pakistani Punjabis have come across and you know, Badal and everyone have said that they're like
I'm not
brothers.
talking about people-to-people contact. That's a different thing altogether. What I'm saying is, if the army comes forward with this political, you know, setup which has Imran Khan and Tahir Qadri, are we going to see a more radical government, a more Islamist government, which is not really open to talks with India?
I don't think the army would be so foolish. As you said earlier, Qadri and Imran don't have that kind of backing. I mean, backing from one region, and even that is divided, is not enough to...
So if it's an interim setup till elections are held?
The army does not want to diminish its authority in order to intervene if something they think is against Pakistani interests occurs. So that won't work. What could work, they could lean on Nawaz Sharif and say, do this, do that. But they're not. I don't think that, despite the rumors in parts of Pakistan, that the army is going to pull down Nawaz Sharif. And I do think that Nawaz Sharif, given his experience, will make it a point to keep in constant touch with the army and get feedback from them.
Thank you very much for speaking with us, Professor.
Thank you.